We have the members of your cell. We have your location. We have prayers that your characters might have, hostility levels, which indicate how aggro things are in your area, and your objective. So let's go over the cell members real quick. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Heavy Metal Machines terrorist cell. The Heavy Metal Machines they're a terrorist group by their own definition. That's what they call themselves. They are a group composed primarily of the orphans of war. On Earth, there have been considerable conflicts. Aside from World War IV, which was the fight between the Seven Nation Army and the Knife Party, there are also global conflicts that happen pretty much constantly between different pockets of resistance and the Seven Nation Army. And sometimes just resistance groups against one another. The struggle for resources, for territory, for just simple survival, it's a daily occurrence in many parts of the world, on every continent as well. Some areas, some continents have been devastated by war, nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons. And then aside from that, you have mutated wildlife, you have cyborgs, you have all sorts of things running around that are just, the Earth is a very, very rough place to live. Even if you're living in a peaceful village somewhere in the mountains or whatever, there's still a good chance you might get just a group of brigands or just bandits that just try to roll through and take what you have. It's pretty rough. It's like a Fallout type of situation, except you also have super psychics, sort of stand users that are involved as well. For the members of the Heavy Metal Machines, this is the environment in which they were born. Being war orphans, these are people who don't know the comfort of family, and their only friends have been others who have had their lives ripped away from them by one war or another. Whether it's directly by the Seven Nation Army or the people who fight them, these are people who are dark in spirit often. So you take that group and then you combine it with the fact that they have a nearly religious type of belief that they are chosen as a new generation of warriors, of heralds of some power. The moon or something on it has called to them. So in the midst of all this destruction, you have these orphans who are bathed in moonlight and then gain some sort of enlightenment or power. And then their fellows find them eventually one day. If you were a war orphan and you were touched by the light of the moon, it's a matter of time before a cell will find you and add you to its ranks. Regardless of your age, your physical ability, your skill in warfare, you will become part of this cell at some point or another, even if you don't want to be. If you try to reject the Heavy Metal Machines indoctrination, they will just find you and hunt you and eventually kill you. So it's a real join the cell or die situation, because in their philosophy, there's no room for hesitation or trying to talk it out. The world is too fucked up, and those blessed with this power need to fall in line. Whoever's at the top of this structure, it's pretty much a mystery. That's why they're cells. They're kind of individual groups that have a very loose organization. They all know kind of inherently that they are part of the Heavy Metal Machine, but they don't know who the leader is. It's usually every cell has one leader itself, and then that leader will usually get directions or vague ideas of what it is they should be doing from different sources. Sometimes it'll be something like the group will be traveling and they'll find a rock with instructions written on it just in the middle of nowhere. Other times it could be they're listening to the radio and then someone talks to them directly through it, and can listen to what they say back. The variety of stand users that are dispensing information and instruction makes it very difficult to tell exactly who is part of this communication network. That's why they're a terrorist cell. Keeping disassociated like that keeps them alive. In the meantime, their missions usually revolve around either acquiring resources for their own survival or making strikes at targets that seem to be of particular interest to someone in the ladder of command. It could be the Seven Nation Army. They've done that a lot. It could just be resistance members. It could be other terrorist organizations. It seems to be very little rhyme or reason to it, but that's exactly what makes the Heavy Metal Machine terrorist group kind of scary to a lot of people. They aren't easy to predict. Their members are like, you can't just track down their family members and torture them or hold them hostage because they're orphans. And the fact that they're all stand users makes encountering a cell a very dangerous proposition. Every cell has different members and different assortments of abilities. So you can't predict exactly how you're going to be able to fight them, or even if you're fighting them at all to begin with. There are cells that are just entirely dedicated to completely winning the fight before it's even begun by just using very subtle manipulations and abilities that allow them to pretty much take over like a military base before even a single shot is fired. There are also terrorist cells that focus on the big flash bang shock and awe tactics. There are terrorist cells that focus on just manipulating masses of people at once to get them to do something for them. So you have a cell focus. So here's the part where I ask, what is your cell's focus? Because we have so far Vicky, who manipulates people, aspects of people. So that's kind of like an espionage infiltration kind of ability, sort of. When Gabriella shoots someone with a gun, it creates a door where the wound would be. What should come through the door? I was trying to think of something, but I thought it'd be better to like crowdsource this one. Does anyone have any weird ideas?
The first thing that came to mind for me was like stray dogs and just whatever.
It could be like rats or crows or like a swarm of something.
I was thinking like crows.
Crows that shout secrets.
Oh, that could be fun.
Yeah, that'd fit. That fit really well, actually.
We have that. So it's so far shaping up to be kind of an assassin kind of cell, I think. But we'll see kind of what you have in mind for Vincent Hale.
Vincent is basically like terrorist Banksy. He's a self-proclaimed artist. He does like anti-Seven Nation Army political graffiti a lot, and his stand is named Ms. Hyde, and it splits you into your good half and bad half, and I haven't decided what exactly it does, like if they fight or what splitting you does to you.
Interesting. Okay, that could be cool. This sounds almost like now it's kind of like a mayhem kind of cell, I think. Right? I mean, someone like a Banksy, and then someone that can fuck up somebody's aspects, and then somebody that can cause secrets to spill out. This seems like it might be like a chaos, a havoc cell, or a even a propaganda or anti-propaganda.
I feel like we're like anti-propaganda or like espionage. Like we go in and we get out, so we extract secrets, and then we like put our own propaganda up.
Okay, so Odessa, what do you have so far? Do you have a stand idea?
I was thinking of using the song A Moment Apart, and all hers does is it just switches someone out, like a target. So it just shifts them to a different, I don't know. It doesn't do anything to them though. It just kind of makes them not realize they're not in the spot they're supposed to be in, I guess.
How about it teleports them to the nearest corner? Like facing the nearest corner.
So
just puts timeout?
Yeah, like an actual timeout. Yeah. And if you use that like in an open area, they just fucking vanish till they find a corner.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
That's pretty good. I mean, just picture this. Someone goes to throw a grenade and then you just put them in the corner so that when they chuck it, it just bounces into their face.
Oh, God.
Your fifth member is Joe. Joe is depressed. Joe is quiet. Joe doesn't talk much to the rest of you. Joe is often sad.
Oh.
And that's Joe. The objective that your group has, let's take a look at it, I guess, real quick. So you are a anti-propaganda havoc cell. Currently, there's any hot zone in the world you could consider as being where you'd want to go. But I would guess that a cell like yours would want to focus on either disrupting communication somewhere or causing havoc in a population on Earth. You guys have a continent you want to work on?
I mean,
what are the 7 nations? I don't even know. That's a stupid question.
The United States, China, Russia, England. I left the last few open in case anyone has like an idea that they want to run for it. Otherwise, it's probably like India and an African nation. Australia is dead. It's been nuked.
Why?
Because I hate Australia.
Oh.
I feel like we should merge a bunch of countries and name it something new. At least
Yeah.
one of them, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, so India, United America, all Korea, and China. As for England, it's possible they may have just taken over the European Union states at this point. It would be a little difficult because they are kind of small compared to the other ones, but you know, who
I
knows?
mean, maybe they all finally decided to band together once the apocalypse, well, whatever essentially came along.
I wish I could just call it Europa, but I can't. So I'm just going to call it instead the European power. So we have India, United America, the European power, all Korea.
Should be something South American.
What is a good I guess what's a good name for a South American like union?
God, probably an
Uh,
abbreviation. They
Confederated States of South America.
Oh God, but I'm just thinking of the Confederates going down there and
I'm going to call them, how about the Southern Cross? Is that
oh boy,
that sounds dope.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds great.
that leaves one left? Maybe an African one so we get all the continents that matter. Fuck you Australia.
Why? Why do you hate Australia?
Something Egyptian.
I was going to call it the Pharaoh state. And then I think I'm going to merge Russia and China as one big block. It's probably pretty powerful, called the Red Kingdom.
Ooh, I like that too.
India, I feel like they're missing out. They don't have like a fancy new name. Shit.
Call it after one of their deities or something. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
What's
maybe
their
like
god deity? The one, the woman that dances and destroys the
Kali?
world. Yeah, that one.
the Great Destroyer. Yeah,
It'll be an abbreviation for something. So we have Kali,
Yeah.
United America, European Power, All Korea, Red Kingdom, Southern Cross, Pharaoh State. That sounds like a bunch of villains.
Yeah, it does.
I like it. Which one of these wonderful places would you like to go to?
We've got a Banksy, so maybe we should go to the European power.
All right, European Power, if everyone's cool with that. European Power.
Sure.
yeah, that's fine with me.
In the rise of the Seven Nations and the wars on Earth, England has resumed its imperialist kind of old hostilities and acquisitions. So they are back to being the, sun never sets on the British Empire kind of assholes.
Do they
No.
control the seas again?
They likely have a very strong navy, yeah. Especially because World War IV was mostly a naval kind of operation, submarines and shit.
Oh, their whole island might just be like a giant dock now. Like they've built across the English Channel, made warships in there. England is just a giant warship now.
This location is called the Red Waters of London. It's
Ooh.
chain of naval fortresses and ships that have been banded together with binding to create small city-state islands that are mobile weapon platforms that are able to be deployed. Every citizen that lives on one of these islands gets required military training. In the event that London ever comes under attack or there just needs to be a deployment, those islands will break their chains and begin to float off towards the destination for a fight. In other words, every citizen that lives in this area is a soldier, and every island is a warship, and a giant one at that. They still love soccer, of course.
Like on the top of the warship now.
You played on an
I-
aircraft carrier.
I wouldn't call it soccer in front of them.
Oh, football.
What do you guys want for your objective?
Just
Very much
Discord.
Discord, anti-propaganda,
They can't break off and fight if they're all in disarray.
I feel like we were actually trying to cause a rebellion, through our propaganda and stuff. So, internal.
So weaken the
Yeah.
population and sow discord so that they can't properly mobilize at least one of their ships. You are just one cell, but you can over time work through each of them to fuck up their coordination and their ability to trust one another even. Nobody's gonna go out on a death mission where they're not sure that the guy in control even knows what the fuck he's doing. So it could definitely mess with their ability to deploy forces. The last thing to cover will be the prayers. Think about that for your characters, what it is that they pray for at night. I will already tell you probably Joe's prayer.